Hello, hello. I am back and had some weird computer issues. Again, I'm not recording these with my gear. I really need to set that up and have some better quality videos, but I hope this is working. It's straight off my Mac and the Mac uh, MacBook Pro camera that is mounted to the screen. And I hope you can hear me okay, and just forgive me for any problems. The last video that it did something extremely weird, and when I was recording this video just a few moments ago, it did the same thing. So I did a reboot. Hopefully everything is okay and we can get through this. Okay. So the last video I came into as an intro, so giving you some updates on things, practical information for the course. This video is to lead us into the focus of this week. And this is where you're going to start reading the book, and maybe the video lectures are not going to quite line up, and that's okay. You're getting information from both sides, where last week, a lot of the video lectures were aligned with the reading that we had. But we're going to continue with Craig Groeschel, which I'm really excited about. And some of the content is not the same podcasts that we've listened to the week prior, but there might be some regurgitated information there. In fact, these I think are a little bit older than the ones that I sent you guys. But he does an amazing job talking about habits and the importance of it. And I just want to highlight a few things that I've even mentioned in last week's introduction video to the course. I want to reemphasize today because I want to give you a few thoughts when it comes to habits. And we all know that we are where we're at today because of the habits we've had prior to this very moment. And so the station of life we're in, the circumstances within you, even being in this course, is a result of the decisions and the habits that you made up to this point. Some of you might be struggling with the study, being back in school and learning. And I'm telling you guys that is difficult as it might be for some to do these assignments, even though we've really have tried to streamline it. I really think that education is not 100% just the knowledge we have. I really believe it's about 50% developing a discipline to study and to learn and to keep it on your schedule. Last week, I talked to you guys about those 3 keys to success. I just kind of glazed over it real quick, but I want to go a little bit deeper to make one very significant point. And that is simply this: anything you do with success is going to require intentionality, it has to be systematic, and it has to be consistent. And I know that I'm repeating myself, but I want to make a huge point with this, okay? It needs to be intentional. You need to know why you're doing it. Why are you in this course? This is an intentional reason. For some of you, it's because you want to plant churches. Now, this course is designed to help people be successful in planting churches, to help people revitalize existing churches, and even equally as important, for those of you that will be coaching people or mentoring people who are going to be planting churches, and those that'll be revitalizing churches. And the revitalization part is a whole nother section of this entire degree program, but it's going to be really great. And I'm looking forward to digging into that and to see how we can remove the lid of growth that is often on churches. And I'll just say up front that we want every church to have a commitment to reproduce other churches. And by moving beyond the growth limitations, it's setting up those churches for that success. It's going to be great. But you're either going to be planting, revitalizing, or you're going to be coaching and mentoring others who will be planting or revitalizing. And for most of you, you'll probably be doing both, planting and revitalizing, and coaching those that plant and revitalize. Okay, so that's why we started with this course, is because we want to develop healthy habits. You are where you're at today because of the practices that you've had in the past. And those 3 things of being intentional: why are you here? Why are you doing what you do? Your actions, your habits have to have an intentional purpose, which means you know why you're doing it. Or you might recognize a habit or a weakness in your life that needs to change. You got to be intentional in stopping that and being able to develop the right habits that are going to get you where your goals are at. The second thing, again, is just being systematic. I know it's review. I know I've already mentioned it, but it's important to say, again, because I have one very important point. to mention to you. And that is the fact that being systematic, it is on your schedule. It's in your agenda. You develop a rhythm and a routine. I'll give a few examples in a moment. And the third thing is that once you know why you're doing it, being intentional, you have it in your agenda, it's systematic, we have to be consistent. We have to consistently follow through with the habits that we're going to create. Now, why am I reviewing all of this again, even though I talked about it last week? To make this one very important point. Let's say you're saving money. It's not the amount that's the most important thing. It's the habit you create. Let's say that you're wanting to lose weight, and I'm working on that myself right now, okay? And I'm excited about the weight loss that I've experienced already. It's really not about how much you starve yourself. It's not really about if you're counting carbs, whatever it is. It's the consistency and the habit that you are making, that you are processing to get it done. You see, it's the habit that's important. So for those of you that are trying to find your rhythm into this class and how you're going to get things done on time and how you're going to learn the most from it, you got to be intentional with your time. You got to be systematic with your time, and you got to be consistent with your time. It's the habit that you make. We've heard Craig Groeschel already talk, and we're going to hear more about it this week. And he's quoting James Clear. I've never heard of James Clear until I heard it from Craig Groeschel, and I'm loving the stuff that I'm finding from this guy. But you know what? It's the little things. It's the little adjustments that make the difference. It's the little things that makes the difference in our life. And so I want to encourage you guys not to get overwhelmed with the big picture, but let the big picture be the goal. And what little adjustments can you make in your life? And here is my challenge for you this week. What are the financial adjustments you can make? What bad habits have you started that you need to stop? And what good habits do you need to deal with? Like, for instance, maybe I should order less Uber Eats and cook more at home. I'm going to save some money, right? So financial habits. What are some of the health habits that you're going to have? A goal for me is to try to go to bed earlier and to get better sleep. We heard Craig Groeschel talk about even the one or two habits that he has made. It was starting like flossing his teeth, something simple. What can you do? Little adjustments can you make to improve your life? Because the point is, even though you're hearing it in a book and you're hearing it from Craig Groeschel, what I want you to hear, it's not just the action, how big it is, that's important. It could be a small action. It's the habit that you create. So what is a financial thing that you can do? What is a health thing you can do? And what is a spiritual thing you can do to start cultivating new habits? I can't wait until we get into the next phase of the class. We're going to have 3 more weeks with Craig Groeschel and 3 more weeks of discussing the habits. And I love the fact that in his book, The Power to Change, and even the podcast we have, it's really dealing with our mentality about knowing who we are before we do. We have to define that. We have to know who we are in him before we try to serve him. It's going to be really important that mindset is there. And when we get through this process, we're going to dig into some spiritual disciplines. And I think I've already mentioned it. We're not going to read that entire book. You're welcome to read it. In fact, it's assigned to read the whole thing. But as far as the class assignments, there's only going to be about 4 chapters that we dig into. But it's about the spiritual disciplines that we have. Right now, we're trying to correct our heart and our mind, our motivations. Listen to me. Matthew 6:33 tells us to seek first the kingdom of God, and then all of these things shall be added unto you. When we put him first, we're putting our priorities first. It speaks about our motive. And so knowing ourselves, we have to revisit who we are to evaluate the motives that we have in doing what we do. I'm a missionary. I serve in Europe. Many of you that are in this degree program are also missionaries. Listen, we're not in it for the big bucks. We're not in it to make a big name for ourselves. We're certainly probably never going to be a televangelist, right? There's a motivation to do what we do, and it's just because for me, I want to make a difference, and I want to make a significant difference, and I've gone to a hard place to do that. That's my motivation. All right. So what kind of little adjustments can you make financially and in your health and in your spiritual life? Why don't you think about that? 3 things that you can change in your life this week, small things, so that you can do that systematically. You're being intentional about it. You're going to be systematic about it, put it in your schedule, and you're going to be consistent in it. Now, let me feed you one more thing that we're going to learn, those of you that are taking church planning essentials and those that will be taking it in the very near future. It's going to be our next class. Your vision, your plan, your timeline. I've lived by this VPT, vision, plan, timeline. When you realize the habits you have, it's not enough just to have your vision. You got to have a plan. And that plan is only going to be executed when we have the proper habits. So when you're lining yourself up for your financial goals and your health goals and your spiritual goals, keep that vision, your motivation, keep that vision in clear sight and make sure that that's pointing you a direction. This is why I've encouraged you guys to develop a life statement. That life statement will set the boundaries to your life. And and maybe next week even, we're going to be talking about boundaries. We're going to be talking about not getting distracted from the things that God has called you to be. Guys, I hope you enjoy this week. There won't be as long as video lectures as we've had in the last week, but I hope it's really making a difference in your life. And I'm looking forward to seeing your results, respond to your discussion questions, and complete your study guide. And just let me say very quickly, there's been some questions asked about the notes and the study guide, when to turn it in. It's your choice. You can turn it in every week, which I would actually prefer. I would love that. If you would just turn both of those things every week, you can send it to me on my university email, B Schwartz, SCHWARTZ @newcovenant.edu. That's my university email. Some of you are sending me things my personal email. I prefer for this class to get it in my university email. That way I know where it's at. It's kind of stuck in the cloud that way. You can send me your study guide and your notes from the video lectures there. Don't complicate the video lectures. Listen to them. And when you're done listening to it, just jot a few things down that stuck out to you and then move on to the next video, because you might be driving. I'm not looking for a huge word count, guys. It's all good. I just want to know that you've completed it. And I also want to mention from the last video, I talked about the 3,000 words that we have. It's never going to be more than that. And that this class has 3 written assignments. And I don't think I completed my thought on that, but I did talk about the 1,500 word essay that'll be plus or minus 10% with 8 sources. But I want to go on and say that the 500 word essay, that's going to be in every class that we have. It's a reflective essay. You're going to be regurgitating, reflecting on how the class has affected you. You don't have to have sources, it's encouraged, but that should be an easy assignment. And then your action plan for this particular class, I'm not sure if every class will have that, but you listing an action plan, and there is no minimum or maximum word count for that. That should be an easy grade for you guys to get done. I just want to know how you're going to apply what you've learned. What is your plan in moving forward? That's it. Easy grade. All right. So don't get overwhelmed that there's 3 assignments. It'll never be more than 3,000 words total, and 1,500 of it is the essay that you'll write. But the other 2 is a reflective essay. Your thoughts. Just make sure you're using proper 1.5 spacing, and that if you do use sources, to make sure you footnote it. Okay. And then there is the action plan assignment. You telling us how you are working, how you're going to work the information that you have to move forward. All right. Easy peasy. I hope that helps, guys. If you have any questions, hit me up, message me, email me. No worries. I'm always there to respond. And let's have a great week this week, guys. God bless you. Please know I'm praying for you. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.